Okay, so we're going to be talking about volume of pyramids today. Before we start anything, we need to discuss what a pyramid is. There are two different types of pyramids. There is a pyramid that has a quadrilateral base, which means it has a base of a rectangle or a square. So let's pretend like this is a deconstructed pyramid. Because when you guys think of pyramids, you guys think of something like this, right? Okay, now let's deconstruct the pyramid. This means if I were to cut this out of paper, this is what it would look like before I folded it up into a pyramid. This pyramid has a base that is a square or a rectangle, and it has four sides that are triangles. These sides are known as lateral faces. Lateral faces. Lateral meaning that they go at a slant. So when I fold this up, this pyramid will have four sides, basically. Four lateral faces, right? Okay. The other type of triangle, or pyramid I should say, has a triangular base. The bottom part is a triangle, which means it only has how many lateral faces, ladies and gentlemen? Three lateral faces when I fold them up. Both will have the same formula for the volume, but each one will have different steps that need to be taken, if that makes sense. Okay? And I'll explain why here in a little bit. So again, two different types of pyramids. One that has a quadrilateral, so it'll be a square or a rectangle base, and then one that has a triangle base. We good to move on? Yes?
Does quadrilateral rectangles too?
Squares, rectangles, and parallelograms, but a pyramid's not going to be made up of a parallelogram. So again, going to be made up of a rectangle or a square base for the pyramid. And then the other one will be a rectangle or a triangle. Okay, moving on. The formula for the volume of a pyramid is as follows. This is what the book wants me to tell you. Volume equals 1/3 times base, and the base being capitalized for a reason, and I'll show you why, times height. Remember, in a three-dimensional shape, we don't technically have a base, right? A base is made up of what, ladies and gentlemen? What is the base made up of? We talked about this in our last notes. Base is made up of what times what? Length times width. Okay? So, I'll explain more what the base of a pyramid is. So, this is the formula they give you. The other formula, I would say, is or you can do this. Base times height and divide it by?
3.
Okay, devices should not be out. You gotta be paying attention up here. Okay, so I'm gonna explain something to you guys. When you guys plug into a calculator and you multiply something by 1/2, you just do 0.5, right? Because you're dividing it by 2, basically. With 1/3, there is no shortcut decimal because 1/3 equals 1.3333333 forever, and you cannot just put that in a calculator. So, get that out of your head because you cannot do that. This is why I gave you the or do this. Okay? The other thing is when you multiply something by a fraction that has a numerator of 1, that means you're basically dividing it by just the denominator, right? Let me give you an example. 1/3 times, let's say, 18. Can I do 1/3 times 18?
Yes.
What do I have to do first, though? I can't do that. Well, how can I do it? I have to change something. Caitlin.
You have to make 18 a fraction.
And I'll make 18 a fraction by, ladies and gentlemen. So, watch what happens. Remember, this means 1/3 times the base times the height. 1/3 times 18 is literally going to become 1 times 18, 3 times 1, 18 over 3, which is the same thing as saying 18 divided by 3, right? So again, anytime you multiply a whole number by a fraction that has a numerator of 1, you're basically just dividing it by the denominator. Okay? So 1/3 times 18 will become 18 divided by 3. 1/3 times 18 will become 18 divided by 3. 18 divided by 3 is what, ladies and gentlemen? 6. Okay, that is your example. So you can do that. You can multiply one of these numbers by 1/3. Because remember, the order in which we multiply doesn't matter because of what? Commutative property. He's my favorite now. So, commutative property states that the order in which we multiply doesn't matter. So as long as the base or the height is a number that can be easily divided by 3, you can do that. If neither one is easily divided by 3, that's when you try to use this method, because you're going to end up with a decimal. This is why I teach you both methods. This one is the safer bet, because if you plug these into a calculator, you're going to be right. It also takes a lot longer, but we'll show you an example here. Now, the base is the part that we need to focus on. The base is going to be very important to what type of pyramid you have. So I'm going to use 2 different examples here. We're going to pull the homework. We're going to pull examples straight from the homework. Here's question 2. This base of this pyramid is a what, ladies and gentlemen? Look at the 2 measurements on the bottom. Just look at the shape that we have here. What is that base, ladies and gentlemen? That is not a square. That is a rectangle. It looks like a parallelogram right now because it's shown in 3D, but if I were to pick that shape up and show you, that's a rectangle. That's a rectangle. That looks, you are just seeing this right now, right? This is what you're seeing. Yeah, that's slanted. You're looking at it as a, so pretend like there's a freaking droid or something, not a droid, drone, and we start moving. This is not going to look like this anymore. It's going to straighten out. This is a rectangle base. Because pyramids cannot have parallelogram bases. So, if I were to dissect that pyramid, it would look something like this when I cut it up. So, the base of that rectangle, or that pyramid, is a rectangle. When they refer to base, they mean the shape at the bottom of the pyramid. They want you to find the area of the shape at the bottom of the pyramid. That shape is a rectangle. How do I find the area of a rectangle, ladies and gentlemen? So, ladies and gentlemen. No. In this case, length times width. But when it's a regular 2D shape, it's just base times height, right? This is technically, if this were a 2D shape, that's the base, that's the height. But because we're dealing with 3D, you're right, it's length times width. So, I just multiply 8 times 6. What does that equal, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, so the base of this pyramid is 48 yards squared. Okay, so that's when I take my formula and I replace numbers. This is 48 now. The base is 48. So it's 1/3 times the base, which is 48 times the height. I need the height of the pyramid, though. What is the height of the pyramid here? 9. So now I'm going to replace the height with 9. So 1/3 times 48 times 9 will give me the volume of this, or you can write it as follows. 48 times 9 divided by 3. Either one of these is still going to give us the same answer. Now, let's start with the first one. Remember, when you multiply something by 1/3, it's the same thing as dividing it by, ladies and gentlemen, 3. Any of those numbers you can divide by 3 easily? Okay, I heard 9. So, let's do that. Let's do 1/3 times 9, which is the same thing as this. I have to put 9 over 1, and that'll give me 9 over 3, or 9 divided by 3, right? You don't have to write all this out when you do the work, but I'm just highlighting that that's what it's going to become. So, 1/3 times 9 is the same thing as saying 9 divided by 3. What will that become, ladies and gentlemen? 3. So that cancels out, that cancels out. Now I have 48 times 3. And that will equal my volume. Let's find out what 48 times 3 equals. 48 times 3 is 144. So the volume of my pyramid, and you guys really need to get in the habit of doing this. Volume equals 144. What was the measurement before? And it'll be what? 144 yards what? Cubed. It's the volume, ladies and gentlemen. Volume. Okay. That's one method. Now let's use this long method. Because remember, it's base times height divided by 3, right? If I plug this straight in the calculator, I should still get 144. Watch. 48 times 9 equals 432 divided by 3 equals 144. This is the safer bet. This is a safer method because, again, if you get a number that you cannot easily divide by 3, you're going to want to do it this way. Okay? Understood? Question?
Wait, why did we take out
Why did we bring the 9? Or why did we do this?
Like, why did you X it
1/3 times 9 is the same thing as saying 9 times or divided by 3. That's why I crossed them out, because 1/3 times 9 makes 3. And that's why I brought this down. This is my next step that I brought down. Over here, I literally just plugged this all in the calculator, and then that's what I did. So either way works. Either way works, okay? Now, let's take what you just learned and add one more step to it. I swear this... There we go. Now, what happens when you have a pyramid that has a triangular base? I still have to find the base of the pyramid, but the pyramid's base is now a triangle. The first step is changed. How do I find the area of a triangle, ladies and gentlemen?
base times height divided by 2.
Base times height divided by 2. So I'm only looking at the triangle, ladies and gentlemen. The bottom of the pyramid, the base. What is the length and the width or base and height of that triangle, ladies and gentlemen? And how do you know? What are the 2 measurements I need for that triangle?
Base and height.
Okay, what are those 2 numbers then?
So,
Dominic, how do you know it's the 4 and 12? Cool, but how do I know that one of those is the height? How do you know? There's an explanation there. Help him out. How do you know? That's what gives away with the height. Remember, when you have a triangle like this, and they show a little dotted line, there's always a what there? Because remember, when you stand up straight to get measured, you and the floor form a
right angle.
right angle. 'Cause you're standing up straight. It's a straight line. This one doesn't have a straight line on the side. When there's a straight line on the side, that type of triangle is a what type of triangle, ladies and gentlemen? That's a... It's a right triangle. Right triangle does not need the little dotted line in the middle of it because it's already got a straight side that's straight up. This base is a right triangle. As Zorowar pointed out, it's got the little right angle here. So the 12 is the height, the 4 is the base. What's 12 times 4? And because it's a triangle, I have to... So the base of the triangle is? Is what? 24. Okay, so the base of this triangle is 24. Okay, now I plug it into the remainder of my formula, and you find the volume of this triangle, of this pyramid. Remember, this height right here is not the height of the triangle, it's the height of the what, ladies and gentlemen? That 6.4 is the height of the pyramid. So, you have everything you need with your group. One person, grab a calculator if needed. You should not need a calculator for this. Hint, hint, wink, wink. One person, go grab a calculator for your group, and you've got 2 minutes to solve this, because it shouldn't take you more than that. Go. So, I've already heard, guys, I heard a lot of groups explain, I heard these two specifically do something. I'm gonna model the way they did it, and I'm gonna model the way I would have done it. Neither one is wrong. You guys are right, but I'm just gonna show you something. So, they went with the other method of base times height and then divide by 3, correct? So what they did was 6.4 and 24, they multiplied, and then they divided it by 3, right? So you guys did this. 24 times 6.4. And remember, we found 24 because we already found the base of the triangle. The triangle was 4 by 12. That's 24. Or not 24, that's 48. Divided by 2 is 24. That's why the base is 24. So we did base times height, which is 153.6, and then they divided it by 3. So the volume of this pyramid would have been 51.2 kilometers, everybody? Cubed. Okay, which is fine. That's the way they did it. Now, this is the way I did it. Remember, if one of those numbers is easily divisible by 3, you can just divide it by 3. Which one of these two numbers can be divided by 3 right off the bat? 24. So 1/3 times 24 is the same thing as saying 24 divided by 3, which equals what, ladies and gentlemen? this becomes 8 times 6.4. 8 times 6.4 still is 51.2. So either one of those was fine. I see Elbow in the back nodding. That's what you guys did, right? No?
No, we just did 24 times 6.4.
And then divided by 3. Okay. So either one of these methods works. This is why I taught you guys both. Remember, if this 24 wasn't here, say that were 25, right? I can't just divide something by 3 easily right then and there. So I would have followed your guys' method of 25 times 6.4 and then divide it by 3, and whatever decimal answer that was my answer. It's only useful when there is a multiple of 3 in the equation. Yeah. Which with your homework, it does baby you guys a lot, but you guys know me. I'm not babying you. So on the test, you're probably not going to see a multiple of 3 there. So you got to learn it the old way, like they just did, the long way of multiply base and height and then divide it by 3. Okay, so now we need to learn one other thing. So typically that would be it for the area or the volume of a pyramid. Now they want you to learn a different skill. What happens when you have the volume of the pyramid and you have the measurements of the base, but you don't have the height? They want you to find the missing side of it, which would be the height of a pyramid. So we're done with this one. We're going to go to our notes again. So now they're talking about finding the missing height. Find the height of a pyramid. So basically we're going back to algebra. And I'm going to completely cross this out so you guys don't get confused. And ignore it. Okay, so let me model this for you. Here's a pyramid. Again, they have to tell you what the volume is right off the bat. And it says it in the question. This is a rectangular pyramid. Has a volume of 90 cubic inches, or better yet, 90 inches cubed. And they want us to find the height. They gave us the measurement of the base. Okay? So again, this is what I would do. Volume equals, and I'm going to use the divide by 3 method here. Base times height divided by 3. I know the volume already, right? What was the volume?
90 cubic inches.
90. We don't know the height, but we know the base, and let's look at this. It's a rectangle, and it's got 2 measurements there. What is the area of that base, ladies and gentlemen? That's a 5 and a 9. What is that base? 45. So I can replace the base. 45. Okay. Multiple ways to solve this now. And I'm going to show you what you can do. And I'm going to rewrite this over here with the other method. 90 equals 1/3 45 times h. Okay? I don't know who's humming, but it's got to stop. Okay. Right off the bat, anybody want to volunteer? What would you do first? Remember, we are doing algebra, so we want to isolate the variable. What is our variable here, ladies and gentlemen? The height. H is our variable. So, using this method first, what would I need to undo? Look at what's happening. That's 45 times h divided by 3. Which one of those operations do we want to undo first? Nope. Well, we could, but not right now. I mean, okay. Let me rephrase. Technically, yeah, you're right. You are right. But yeah, let's just do that one. Let's do that one. So Gerline says let's undo the 45. Okay. If I divide this side by, I can only just divide that by 45, just so you know. That's why it gets confusing. I would have done this. Technically, you can do that, and the 45 would be gone. I'm going to show how Gerline would do this, and some of you guys are going to lose your mind because we just only divided the top and not the whole thing. This is why technically you're right, but the way that we've learned things and how you do things, it's not right. It's like eating dessert before eating your dinner. So I'm going to divide this by 45. That'll be gone. Divide this side by 45, and this will give me what, ladies and gentlemen? 90 divided by 45 is? You guys don't know this mentally? 2. 2 will now equal h over 3. I need to undo the 3, so I'm going to do what? Multiply by 3. That cancels out. 2 times 3 is what, ladies and gentlemen? Height equals 6. That was her way. Okay? Now, let me show you the other way, and now you guys are going to be like, her way was easier. It's being divided by 3, right? What do I need to do first? I need to multiply by 3, multiply by 3 here. What's 90 divided by 3, everybody? Or, sorry, 90 times 3? Ignore the 0. What's 9 times 3? Annex a 0. 270 equals 45 times h. You guys are interrupting the recording. Now I need to divide both sides by what? 270 divided by 45 is still 6. So either way worked. It just, Gerline, you were right. It just doesn't look proper when it comes to math. And some of them probably were like, why did we only divide that side by 45, not the whole thing? It's because we were only undoing that part. Now, let me show you an easier method. 90 equals 1/3 times 45 times h. Guess what? I can do 45 times 1/3 right off the bat, right? 45 times 1/3 is the same thing as saying 45 divided by 3, which would be what, ladies and gentlemen? Guess what? This becomes 15. 90 equals 15. I don't know why they changed my 0 into a triangle. 90 equals 15 times h. Guess what? Divide both sides by 15. H still equals 6. Because 90 divided by 15 is still 6. So any of those methods would work. Any of those methods would work. And I know some of us are like, holy crap, that was way too much stuff that I just learned. Any of those methods would work. Okay? It depends on how your brain works and how you want to do it. And again, this is being recorded and will be uploaded. So if I move off the screen and you weren't done, you're watching a video. Any questions so far on how to work backwards and how to find volume of a pyramid? Okay, now let me give you guys a preview of. Actually, let me do one thing. I'm gonna go ahead and change this. Kevin last period came up with a really good, easy equation, but again, this would only work with pyramids that have a base of rectangles or squares. Kevin said, why can't the volume of a pyramid just be length times width times height and then divide it by 3? When it is a rectangular or a square base, this will work. Because guess what? Length times width becomes what, ladies and gentlemen? The base. And then when you multiply by the height and then you divide it by 3, it's the original formula, right? This does not work with a triangular base. Because remember, the triangle has to be what? So this formula right here, length times width divided by 3, totally works when you have a rectangular or square base. It will not work with a triangular base. Just giving you guys a heads up right now. Okay? Will not work with a triangular base. You gotta do this. Any questions with this lesson? Okay, preview of lesson 6 is the following. You guys learned how to dissect the pyramids, right? Lesson 6 is going to have you find the area of the entire sides of them. So, surface area. You'd find the area of the base, which you already are doing, and then you'd find out what the area of each triangle is. Hint, if the base is a square, all 4 triangles are the same. Okay? If the base triangle is an isosceles triangle, which means what, ladies and gentlemen? Or sorry, not isosceles, equilateral triangle, which means what? Then all 3 triangles are going to be the same as well. Yes?
So, if it's like a square and there's going to be like 4 sides, we have to divide by 2. Can't you just multiply by 2?
We'll talk about that tomorrow. Yeah, because if you find so say like you just said, you find the area and don't divide by 2, guess what? That's the area for 2 of them. Then you can just multiply it by 2 and you found the area for the other 2. But certain questions, what are you doing? Certain questions will tell you I need the area of each individual shape first and then add. So yeah, then you have to divide by 2. If it doesn't say that, then heck yeah, take the shortcuts. So you guys have the following. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.